Welcome back to the Kyle Olson Show. Rebecca Friedrichs is the founder of For Kids and Country, author of Standing Up to Goliath, Battling State and National Teachers Unions for the Heart and Soul of Our Kids and Country, and a 28-year public school teacher who was the lead plaintiff in Friedrichs versus CTA, which was California Teachers Association. And let me just say, there are very few warriors in the school choice movement. Very few people who are willing to put up with the vicious brass-knuckle attacks from the unions, the people who claim to care about children. Very few people in the school choice movement that when I hear them speak, I stop to listen. Rebecca is one of those people, and I'm so glad that she's with me today. So thanks for joining me, Rebecca.
Thank you, Kyle. What a very gracious introduction.
So you wrote a piece, thank you. So you wrote a piece in July in the Washington Times titled How Public Schools Groom Kids for Sexual Predators Like Epstein and Maxwell. Of course, you're referring to Jeffrey Epstein. That's a pretty provocative charge. And let me read from a portion of what you wrote. Healthy Teen Network, a coalition of over 180 sexual and reproductive health justice organizations, including the CDC, Planned Parenthood, and SECUS, whose motto is Sex Edge for Social Change. Their collective call to action demands funding and legislation for their brand of sex education, which they assert is a human right. So how would you describe their brand of sex education?
Well, their brand of sex education is child abuse, plain and simple. Here's what they do, Kyle. They, the teachers' unions in particular, and by the way, they don't deserve the name teachers' unions. They're actually Marxists who are posing as teachers and posing as unions. So it's really important for people to understand that. Loving teachers like myself would never, ever do these hurtful things to children. And we have been overrun and brutalized by these unions who claim to represent us and don't. So what they do is they support very far left candidates, and those candidates pass laws to bring something called comprehensive sexuality education into our schools. This is going on worldwide. The World Health Organization is involved, the United Nations involved. And so comprehensive sexuality education, or CSE, is the gateway to some very abusive curriculum. I'm just going to read to you a little bit of a lesson that I highlight in that piece that's on the Healthy Teen Network. Healthy Teen Network, this organization, works with all of the different publishers who bring comprehensive sexuality education into our schools and who work with these unions. So this lesson on the healthyteennetwork.org site, which by the way is a non-secure site, which concerns me because children are being led to this site. Mm-hmm. The lesson's called 5 Tips for Your Sexual Health During COVID-19. It's taught by a, quote, expert, Ella Dorval Hall, who is a 2018 college graduate in environmental studies. She's not really a sex health expert. Her 5 tips for our kids are that they should be involving in sexting, and she gives them a link, direct link, to a website that teaches the children 54 different sexting ideas, and they are absolutely pornographic, and they even suggest that children get involved in threesomes. Her second suggestion to our kids is that they engage in solo sex or masturbation, and she actually asks them, you don't know, you have questions about this, you don't know how to do it, no problem, here's how to masturbate. And there's a link that the kids can follow. Then her third thing is that they should be looking at pornography, and she asks them, are you interested in watching porn? And she provides a porn literacy toolkit and other links. And then she tells our children, number 4, that they should date yourself. And number 5, that they should go online and interact with, quote, sex experts. And she actually gives them links to 5 different supposed sex experts who will show these kids how to use sex toys and give them, this is a quote off her page, how to use sex toys and tips for dirty talk. And when you follow these links, which I was horrified to do, they lead you to more and more links, and they lead you to these quote unquote educators who push comprehensive sexuality education, and it is 100% child abuse and grooming children for sexual predators.
So what sort of ages are we talking about here?
Well, that's the troubling thing. Comprehensive sexuality education has been pushed in our public schools for all ages. So most of the laws around it state that they should teach CSE in middle school and high school. However, there is nothing that stops any district from moving it down as early as kindergarten. In addition, when you look at the law, particularly the law in California called the California Healthy Youth Act, people can look that up. It is an example of the laws that they're trying to push in all states. In that law, schools are forced to teach the gender ideology at all ages. So from preschool all the way on up. Why? Well, they claim that this is anti-bullying, that you're supposedly protecting children from being bullied. But the truth is what's actually happening is teachers and parents are being bullied, children are being bullied, and children are being taught as early as 4 years old, oh, well, your parents didn't know your gender when you were born, so they assigned you a gender, and you'll figure out your gender someday from this unending number of genders. And so children they're totally confused, and they're losing their identities, they're losing their faith. It's unbelievable, Kyle. And it's being pushed by a very powerful coalition and these folks that call themselves teachers unions. And teachers need to be aware that their union dues are being used to push this humongous attack on children, on families, and on our Judeo-Christian virtues, and on our culture, and on America itself.
So what these schools are doing by way of these various organizations is they are setting kids up to be groomed and to be exploited and to be trafficked by predators. And they may not think that they're doing that. They may not realize that they're doing that, but that's exactly what's happening. And to your point about the strength of this organization, this Healthy Teen Network, you write that their strategic plan states that, quote, by 2020, Healthy Teen Network will work in all 50 states, U.S. territories, and the District of Columbia. So this organization will be working nationwide in pushing this sort of thing. And this is what is so frustrating to me as a parent and as someone who, looks into this sort of thing. Parents and I think grandparents, they think about the lessons that they may have had in schools, and it was, reproduction. And it was not all of this craziness that's being taught to kids who, they can't understand it. They don't understand their bodies. They're not developed, etc. They don't know how to handle all of this. And so the example that you gave, what is happening is this resource is setting kids off in a direction to be exploited online and groomed and trafficked. That's what's happening. Now, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say you are exactly right. And what families need to be aware is when the schools, and like I said, California is the example, but they're all following suit. All the states, even Texas is having trouble. Tennessee is having trouble. So even conservative states, and the reason is because the teachers unions, what they did was focus on school boards and focus on precise, specific leaders throughout different states who are pushing this nightmare into our schools. And so people need to be aware. They might get a letter coming home saying, oh, we're going to learn about the sex ed. Well, the letter's never going to tell you what's really going on. And so many people think precisely what you just said. Oh, it's what I learned when I was a kid. No problem. Whatever you do, don't allow your children to be a part of these lessons, and beware. They're showing up in every single subject, at every single grade level. If you have an activist, quote unquote teacher, an actual activist that's been planted in our schools by these unions, your kids are never safe. My best advice is pull your kids out of the public schools. But parents beware, teachers beware.
Rebecca Friedrichs is founder of For Kids and Country. She was in the classroom for 28 years. and she has the battle scars to show it. Where can people support your organization and find more out about you?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Hopefully our website's back up. I was on Glenn Buck's show this morning and our website was attacked and went down, but hopefully we can get that back up soon. The website is forkidsandcountry.org. If you go on and you can't get there, please keep trying. forkidsandcountry.org. They can also find me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at For Kids and Country. And they can find my book on Amazon. It's Standing Up to Goliath.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you so much for joining me today. For more of my work, go to Breitbart.com or find me on Twitter, Kyle Olson4. Use the same handle for Parler, Kyle Olson4, KYLEOLSON, and the number 4. This is The Kyle Olson Show.